with limited screen time that he had. I love Matthew Lillard, so it was just so great to see him on screen again. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's, directed by Emma Tammi. Now, to start this off, I am not a big Five Nights at Freddy's fan, okay? I had watched my closest friends in university play it. We had 5-hour breaks during university. I remember this vividly. And we watched one of my closest friends play Five Nights at Freddy's. That's it. That's all I know. But you get into it. You get invested. Maybe I did try a couple times. I sucked. But it is such a fun game. So I went with my cousin, who is a diehard Five Nights at Freddy's fan. And I just want to shout out to Universal Blumhouse for giving me the opportunity to watch this ahead of its scheduled release. I was so excited to get in there, not because of the movie itself, just because I was watching it with like diehard fans who were able to win these tickets as well. It was electric in there. People were dressed up. Everyone was having a good time. So if you don't know the lore, this is not constructed for the general movie-going audience at all. I was kind of lost. If my cousin didn't tell me or fill me in on the weird timeline of events, it's very confusing for a general audience member. It's hard to craft something for fans with pure fan service, and there were cameos in this movie. There were story beats, there were like iconic lines, iconic scenes, all of that, everything that a diehard fan of Five Nights at Freddy's would want to see in a movie was in it. So they did their job there. However, crafting a story for general audiences, crafting a horror film for general audiences just wasn't there. And you could tell that they were struggling to find like a happy medium, because there are some scenes where it does get bloody, but it's confusing because you're choosing to cut in between the scary parts. There's supposed to be scary moments. You're building tension. You're building that. And we're really excited to see, you know, Freddy and Bonnie and Chica and Foxy. And you're like excited to see them because you're building them up. And then it goes absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. You have the security cameras. You have all of that. I get it. It just would have been better if they showed us a lot more than what they were telling us. The focus was on Abby, who's played by Piper Rubio, and Mike, who's played by Josh Hutcherson. The focus was on them. Mike lost his younger brother a long time ago, and he is holding on to Abby for dear life. He's trying to be a good caregiver. He's obviously her legal guardian. He can't really keep a job. He goes into the office of Steve Raglan, who is played by my boy Matthew Lillard, who I love to see in movies because he's absolutely fantastic. And he was so good in this with limited screen time that he had, but he was the star. And I love Matthew Lillard. So it was just so great to see him on screen again. But he goes in there, he's like, I have a job for you. That he's going to become a security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Now, this thing hasn't been open since the 80s for reasons that we find out in this film. But there really are no spoilers for this because you can literally Google what the story is about at this point. And if you are a diehard fan, you obviously know that the animatronic bears and rabbits and foxes are actually ghost children. Apparently, there was someone named William Afton who took these children and they became these animatronic dolls. Are stuck in there. There's ghost children. There are ghost children. Think of the possibilities of ghost children locked in a pizzeria with a security guard who can't sleep and he's watching the vicinity. Like, just think of the possibilities of this. So we get this tie to Mike. Lost his brother. Someone took his brother, okay? Kidnapped his brother. He couldn't stop him. So now he's been taking sleeping pills and having these dreams to try to find out if he could see this man's face who took his brother. This goes on for the entire film. It's not one flashback, okay? We keep going back because he's been reading this dream theory book so he could try to see who took his brother. So now when he goes into the dreams, okay, he sees the kids that were taken in the 80s, which makes absolutely no sense because there's no There's no connection. So they tried to make this connection through the ghost children, because obviously when it comes to childhood trauma in horror films, it's really effective to try to overcome your fears, to try to overcome your past. And there's an emotional tie that you create to the character. Okay, we're trying to connect with Mike. It's impossible because the story with the animatronics doesn't really work with what they're trying to do with his kid brother going missing. That was the most irritating aspect of Five Nights at Freddy's, because the security guard is supposed to stay awake to watch the cameras. This man is taking sleeping pills and going into his dreams. So then the ghost children who are in the animatronics are going to visit Mike in his dreams. I felt nothing. There's no tension there. And every time like you would see either like Chica move or Foxy move on the security camera, it would just cut to the dream. And it's like, I don't care about the dream. I want to see the puppets. So that stuff really annoyed me, because we could have gotten more scares. We could have gotten the ghost children to come out to Mike and be present in his little security room instead of like having it in his dream trying to find his brother. It became very repetitive. It became dull. I ended up not caring for that. Would it have been awesome if like you did the night 1, night 2 intertext within the film? 100%, because that's an amazing callback. But for general audiences, the lore was not explored whatsoever. The backstory that was drilled into us with Mike and his sister did nothing. I didn't learn anything. Again, if I didn't know the storyline before I went in, there's like nothing there. It doesn't help us. Am I supposed to know who William Afton is for shock value towards the end of this film? No. It's for the fans, which is great. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun for people, and the cheers that we got in that screening is fine, but it's just a missed opportunity to really bring on the scares, because there are murders in this movie. There's one sequence where I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, go get him, Chica, like go Foxy. Like I was cheering them on. I'm like, that's cool. And there were cool deaths as well, but it was just that sequence. That's it. And it was funny because it was just so dumb at times, especially with the animatronics. Like you're not making them look menacing. It makes it very funny. Like I was dying of laughter, but for the wrong reasons. It's not like a so bad it's good movie. It's a bad movie, but you'll still have a lot of fun watching it. And again, that's what I kind of wanted to get out of Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't go into this thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be one of the best horror movies of the year. I didn't think that. I was ready to go into this and like, I'm ready to have some fun, because the absurdity of ghost children in animatronic dolls is right there. It's right there. So like, it's fine for what it is. Again, I understand the teen rating. I get it. But the story, you can't tie it in that way. You can't do a whole backstory with this guy, Mike. Especially how they tied it in at the end with William Afton. It didn't work for me. So it suffered because they didn't want to take this too seriously, and they should have. Because I think that if you just had Mike stationed there day 1, day 2, day 3, like literally doing that, and then have the ghost children like freaking him out in different ways when he's sitting there night after night, and then he does get the experience with the animatronics and they go missing. Like they had to incorporate more of the gameplay for general audiences to understand the game. Instead, they focused more on the lore and how to tie that in, and I think that was the biggest mistake here. I think that to show more of the animatronics and show more kills would have been a very nice addition, instead of focusing on a story that didn't really tie in well with the rest of the lore for Five Nights at Freddy's. I am giving Five Nights at Freddy's a 2.5 out of 5. I still had fun watching it. I laughed. God bless Matthew Lillard, because if it wasn't for him within the last 15 minutes of this, I think it would have been even more disappointing than it already was for me. So shout out to Matthew Lillard. I do like what Emma Temmie did here, especially with the kids. She made it very kid friendly. I think that if this was a different film, that would have worked 100%, but this wasn't the film to do that with. It was balancing two very different things. Didn't know which way to go. And it was hard to cater to a general audience, especially the demographic with children, and then cater to the fans as well. I think that they nailed it with the fans. It's just if you don't know the lore, it's just going to be a really weird, obscure, and hella dark movie by the end of this. Like, I was shook. I'm like, this is the lore that you guys are talking about? Like, I was taken aback. I was kind of shocked. I'm like, this gets dark real fast. Tonally, it's all over the place, but I am giving it a 2.5 out of 5. If you want, you can watch it on Peacock. I do advise that if you want a great movie-going experience, to watch it with the fans in theaters, because just the reactions from everybody, it's electric, it's buzzing. I think that that's probably why I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But yeah, I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5. Please let me know if you enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's. Let me know your connection with Five Nights at Freddy's in the comments below. I really love reading what the diehard fans are saying about it, so drop that in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel, you can find out ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.